Hello, part 3 of my alien experiences. You have to watch number 1 and number 2 and then get to this third one here because it's really important you go in order because I kind of went from my childhood to in a chronicle order. So where I left off in number 2 was one of my last experiences that I had had during the time period of, this is in the like 2008-ish to 12. 2000, actually it would have been around 2012 at this point, where I was having these really crazy experiences. So I was sharing online. I was involved, in some online groups where people get together and chat and share experiences and things, and that's what I was doing. And then I started having like really insane experiences, and the dimensional field of having body marks on me. In the past, I had always had people coming to me saying they were abductees and things like that, and I never considered myself one until, this time period where stuff really started happening and I was really remembering it all. And so one of my experiences I had was when I was conversing on a group chat that had to do with, just the paranormal, alien stuff. Some people were like into the Galactic Federation, things like that. I'm not. I'm just going to tell you guys, I do not partake in any of the groups out there because I find most of them to be incredibly manipulative and deceptive. I don't care who says what out there on the internet. I'm not into them. No. There's good aliens and then there's ones that aren't. Okay, that's the thing. I'm just going to make it very clear right now. There are good beings and there are bad beings, just like there are good humans and bad humans. And then there's just a bunch of other things out there, even in the animal kingdom, dogs even, there's a big difference between your little sweet Poochie and Cujo. You know what I'm saying? Like there's good and bad in all things. And so this experience I had, it did involve somebody from this group. So there was this one woman had, I loved her. She was out in Arizona and she was a really cool lady and we were sharing experiences and stuff like that. So this one night, again, dream time. Dream time is a big time. And I never really gave it a lot of value that I would have these experiences during dream time because, sometimes you think, okay, you're just working things out through your subconscious or what have you. But it was during that time when I realized that dream time is also a part of a dimensional thing where we can, go to different levels of places through dream time. And one of the experiences I was having was the doorbell would go off, but there was no doorbell because my dog wouldn't move. I would wake up and I'd hear it, and I would literally hear it, but my dog was not reacting. And I was just like, that was just like really messed up. And so I had to really like look into all of that. So I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me a second. I'm just gonna, so I don't sneeze. So this one incident that happened, and I can still very clearly, vividly see and remember it and smell it, everything. So I had this dream that I came up. My bedroom was in the basement because I let my kids have the upstairs bedrooms, and so I was in the basement and I was living alone, just my kids and I, and I remember coming up the stairs. Something happened and I was going up the stairs to go look. So I come up the stairs and I can see the doorway in front of me, and the door would be here and to the side here would be the living room. So, but I would have to go up to where the main door area is, turn my head and look, and then I could see the living room. And I got up there and I turned and I looked and there was this really big guy sitting on the couch. And I knew immediately who and what he was. We call them demons, but he smelled like sulfur. And he sat there and he laughed at me and he laughed at me. And I was terrified. I was terrified. And so I turned around and I went running, and I found my dog. My dog here is starting to make noises. She's like, I don't think she likes this story. I turned around and ran out to the backyard where my youngest child was. And I grabbed her and I noticed that these spaceships were coming out of the sun. And poof, I woke up in that moment. Now, how does it tie to this woman online? Because that moment, she had also, I got on there and I was kind of going, hey, did anybody have any weird experiences last night? And she said, yeah, my son did actually. And he drew this picture. And it was a picture of spaceships coming out of the sun. I think I almost lost my breath in that moment. And to make it even more bizarre and more crazy. So my daughter at that time, she would have been like 7, maybe. I don't know, maybe a little bit older than that, maybe going on 9, maybe around that period of time. And she said to me that she had a really crazy dream last night about aliens. Well, that whole thing made me start to spiral, because I'm like, oh my God. One of them was in my house, sitting on a couch, and he knew me. I know he knew me. And he smelled like sulfur. And I remember him, he was really hairy. He had a lot of hair, a lot of facial hair, but he was, I say human because there was a humanness about him. But yet there was something that was totally not human about him. But that smell, I'll never get that smell out of my nose, you know? It was a very like burnt hair, sulfury kind of thing. And it's made me, okay, it's crazy. I know, it's crazy. But they talk about, I've heard things on the internet since then about, you know, all these different alien groups. And they say that there's one classification of them that are actually on really close to us. And so I think a lot of times we immediately go planetary. But one of my maybe conclusions, it's not a conclusion, but it's a possibility. What if those bursts, oh my God. What if, so I'm going to keep going with this, I don't care, I'm going to keep going with this. What if those solar flares that happen, what if they're actual spaceships coming and going out? And those are just their holes, so they can come in and out. I mean, why wouldn't? Like, if there's a hell, maybe hello. Do you know where I'm going with this? Like, maybe the sun is hell, and that's where they live inside. But maybe they're not like this dynamic thing, because whatever it was that came to my house never tried to harm me. I don't know, man. I don't know. But if there's other people out there who, you know, have had any of these, please, if you've had any experience like this, put it in the comments. I would love to hear it. I would love to have that conversation with people, or have you guys have that conversation with each other. Hey, Moo, you've come to interrupt again. Hey, there she is. Okay, I'll take you out in a second. Anyways, so it was at that time when I totally closed my door to the whole alien thing and the dimensional thing, and I had to get myself really grounded, because I was really scared, because I was like, how do I protect my family? Like, how do you do this? But that was like over like 11, 12 years ago now. And I'm a very different person. Kids are grown, and Mushka's grabbing my shoe again. Just like the first video. This is how the first video started, and this is how this one's going to end. So I think it's about time for me to end this, because she's brought a shoe to me again. And no, we can't go out, Mo, because it's a big thunderstorm out there. always authentic here. So yeah, something to think about, hey? With all this disclosure movies and different things that different groups are saying, be very open-minded to what we've been taught. Things aren't always as they seem. What might have been projected as being evil and bad might not be. And things that have been projected as being holy and good might not be. We're all figuring it out right now, but we are in a place where life is the disclosure. We're learning about this firsthand right now. And so keep a very open mind. Because like I said, I was terrified at that point. I was like, holy shit, the demons are coming for me and they're aliens. Maybe they are, but I'm actually more concerned about the grays than I am with what came to visit me. And as it comes to when I talked about before, the body mark that I had on my breast that time, I was terrified. But now my perspective is, maybe there was something physically not okay and they were fixing it. Maybe we get upgrades. Because I do believe that humans are, there's a lot more to us than what any Bible would say. So there's a lot of concepts right now coming out to think about. But what I really need to strive forward is the Nordics and the Galactics and the Greys and all of them have really deceived a lot of people in the 50 years that I've been observing all of this. So just be really careful whose team you're on right now and what people are saying. And I don't have the answers to it, but I have a lot of questions and I'm keeping an open mind still, even though I've had a lot of my own personal experiences. I still keep an open mind because we do live in a matrix of smoke and mirrors. Never forget that. Also, your thoughts. I do mediumship work and I'm still being very careful about what I'm hearing because it's kind of easy to get in there, isn't it? I think there's a lot of shows that are coming up with things like that now, talking about, yes, they are, talking about how humans are being deceived even by technology. So with all these disclosures that are happening, keep a very, very open mind. And one thing you need to listen to, your heart, your guts, your instincts. Those have never failed me. Okay. Remember, you can ring my bell. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I will keep bringing you stuff because it's fun to do it. And yeah, I plan on being here for a while, so see y'all later.